The law enforcement professionals of Indian Wells are dedicated to serving the citizens of its communities with integrity, professionalism, leadership, and loyalty. During the last fiscal year, the police department increased the safety and security of our city by answering a total of 17,916 calls for service and issuing 1,616 citations. The traffic enforcement team dealt with 262 collisions on the streets of our city. 33 of those were injury collisions, which was an 8% drop from the prior year. In an effort to make our streets safer and combat drunk and drugged driving, the department made 20 DUI arrests during the last year.
Having served for 33 years as a police chief and police officer, I can fully appreciate the dedication and selfless service provided to our community by the men and women of the Riverside Sheriff's Department and CAL FIRE. The firefighters, paramedics, deputies, and CSOs work tirelessly to provide a safe and secure environment for Indian Wells residents. We are very fortunate to enjoy a very low rate of crime, and our paramedic service is simply outstanding. We are all indebted to these outstanding public servants and thank them for their service. I am looking forward to being able to bring you an equally positive State of the City report next year.
The City of Indian Wells provides a full-time dedicated fire department. Through a contract with the Riverside County Fire Department, residents are provided with fire suppression, fire prevention, fire investigation, fire safety education, and paramedic services. The city's fire station is fully staffed with an advanced life support ambulance. The average response time for the Indian Wells fire equipment is under 5 minutes from the time the call is dispatched to the time the first unit arrives on the scene. This past year, the Indian Wells Fire Department responded to a total of 1,244 calls for service. 818 calls were for medical services, 83 calls were for traffic collisions, 79 calls for public service, 26 calls for fire response, and a total of 238 calls were for false alarms and miscellaneous services. The importance of preparing ourselves for disaster is universal. Emergencies can happen anywhere, at home or at work, and everyone must take action to prepare for emergencies in case something unexpected happens. The City of Indian Wells has taken several steps in making sure the city staff is prepared to manage emergencies. The City of Indian Wells is part of the Coachella Valley Emergency Managers Group, which meets regularly to participate in drills and special training courses. Its goal is to ensure orderly response to any foreseeable emergency. The EOC team has been actively working on improvements both in equipment upgrades and staff training. Emergency services staff have conducted numerous trainings for residents on how to prepare for a disaster. A new opt-in radio program creates a communications channel for our HOAs in case of emergency to help assess injuries and damage to property. City staff has been working with law enforcement and the Tennis Gardens security team, developing an event emergency action plan to prepare for emergencies at the Tennis Gardens. Staff has also been through the Stop the Bleed campaign, which teaches bystanders how to help an injured person while waiting for first responders. The city was recently awarded a grant of $11,976 from the Emergency Managed Performance Grant Program of FEMA. This program plays an important role in the implementation of the National Preparedness System by providing funds to pay for emergency management personnel.
Preparing for emergencies is more important today than it ever has been. We see disasters strike everywhere. We are training city staff to deal with these issues, but we encourage you, our residents, to also get prepared. We are committed to providing you with information on how to weather a disaster and are proud to have an emergency services coordinator on staff to conduct training exercises with our community members.
In case of an emergency, the city's response will be conducted from the Indian Wells Emergency Operations Center, fully equipped to run off a generator if needed, and with special phones that remain live during emergencies. The building itself can withstand an 8.0 earthquake, enabling city staff and emergency response personnel to be safe and on site during response and recovery.